I think we'll start with a question going back to the 1970s when you founded the association. What was it like in the early 70s for Tsinghua alumni and this community in Greater Boston? And whether you also had annual gatherings back then that the alumni meet together?
When I first come to MIT in 1942, that was during the Second World War, and at the time there were very few Tsinghua alumni, and in the Boston area. Most of them are single, so we do get together, but not very frequently. We probably meet a couple times a year, generally in a restaurant, having a dinner together. At the time, there was 2 restaurants we often go to. One is somewhere on the Mass Avenue, and we ride a streetcar to go there. There's another one called Yangli, which existed for many, many years. I don't know whether it's still there or not. Anyway, those are the 2 places we go quite a bit. Also, later on, Professor Zhao, many of them, he's well known, Zhao Yuanren. He came back to teach at Harvard University. And they have a house on Walker Street in Cambridge, and their house becomes sort of a Chinese club because Mrs. Zhao was very hospitable, and anybody can go in there without a pre-arrangement and just drop in, and they all get welcomed by Mrs. Zhao and of course Dr. Zhao. They also have 4 lovely daughters, and the eldest one is Zhao Rulan, or Irish Zhao, and who become very friendly with us and married one of my classmates, Bianxue Huang. The second daughter married another Tsinghua alumna, Huang Minglong, something like that. Anyway, those are early days. And at the time, later on, there were other Tsinghua people. They are not necessarily students. Many of them are Chinese officials at working for Chinese government in New York. And so they participate with us. And remember, there's one Mr. Huang, and his nickname is Huang Niu. We call him Huang Niu. He always come all the way from New York to join us. And also at the end of the meeting, we always sing the school songs. And also he was originally in the athletic department, so he was the cheerleaders, and so he led us to do 校呼, meaning Tsinghua ra ra ra.
I heard about that from well, one generation earlier than me, and the alumni still do that.
Yeah.
I think in our generation when we were in Beijing, we didn't have that anymore. But I heard about that exactly. That what you
okay. So that sort of provides the very interesting atmosphere. There was a joint meeting with the New York Tsinghua Alumni Association once, and they invited us to go to New York. Everybody go to New York, and some of them worked for the United Nations. At the time, United Nations was just set up, so we were given tours to see the United Nations building, and also one of the alumni was the owner of a Chinese restaurant, and he invited everyone go there. So that was a interesting event.
Roughly how many alumni participated in those events back then?
I would think about a dozen or so, relatively few.
Yeah, but fitting a few dozen people into a restaurant is also not a trivial thing.
A dozen or so from Boston area, and in New York, there were many more alumnus of Tsinghua, and so altogether we fill up the whole dining room.
Okay, yeah, this tradition it looks like the tradition comes all the way and then still exists today. Yeah. I think here in Boston we had an annual gathering where the alumni would gather. And I know that in New York that the alumni there also gather, and in New York there's exactly and currently also one alumnus who owns a restaurant, and that becomes the canteen for the Tsinghua graduates. And they call it that way in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.